Yo, what up guys? KohzzyJo here, and today I'll be reviewing JoJo Bizarre Adventures. JoJo. What comes into your mind? Back then when I heard the name JoJo for the first time, the image that came into my mind was big, sweaty, muscular men posing fabulously in front of the camera. This is all the same image you will also get if you ask anyone ever heard of JoJo. I decided to give JoJo a try, disregarding all the negative and homosexual remarks I've heard from people or my friends. I knew I was going into and prepared to put my homophobic feelings aside only for this occasion. While watching the first few episodes, I was instantly hooked. It was amazing. I now do not regret myself for watching JoJo at all. Don't let all this negative response from others keep you from enjoying this fabulous show. Most of the people that tell you don't watch JoJo is basically just fucking with you, and also the fact that they don't want the fan base to get bigger. And when that happens, that will lead to hype, and as a result, mainstream. I truly love the series, and especially the JoJo's. No homo. JoJo Bizarre Adventures, also known as JoJo no Kimio na Boken, is a manga created and illustrated by Hidehiko Araki. The JoJo series began as early as 1986. 1980 fucking 6. I didn't even exist during that time. As of now, the manga is split into 8 parts that features new characters each arc. Sometimes old faces might just show up, just keep them relevant, or for fan sake. Also sometimes just kill them off. Spoilers. There is always a new adventure and new adversaries waiting to be revealed each arc. JoJo Bizarre Adventures genre consists of action, adventure, supernatural, suspense, comedy, mystery, and horror. It also incorporates hundreds of nominal references to Western music that range from popular band and music titles. JoJo Bizarre Adventures is influential in the anime and manga world. A lot of other manga will sometimes use the reference of JoJo into their own works for comedic purpose or just to show the respect for Araki and the series itself. There's also been video games, OVAs, and a film adaptation of JoJo the series, but it has never received an anime adaptation even with its popularity. In 2012, a production studio named Dave Production came and saved the day. As of now, only Part 1, Phantom's Blood, Part 2, Bad Tendency, to have a Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, has been animated. The second part of Part 3, Egypt Arc, has just recently aired a month ago and still is currently airing, but is reeling to its finale. The showdown we have all been anxiously waiting for. There is no confirmation or plans whether Part 4, Diamond Unbreakable, will be animated, but through my speculations, I definitely see it coming. The first scene covers both Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency from the manga. I'll break down each arc briefly while not saying too much spoilers. The main part of Phantom Blood is to introduce Dio Brando, the main antagonist of the series, and how he gets involved in the Joestar's bloodline. Also we're introduced the first of the Joestar legacy, Jonathan Joestar. In the first few episodes of the story, it seems quite generic but picks the pace. This arc sets the stage of the battle between the living and the undead once Dio discovered the stone mask and its power to transform himself into a powerful blood-sucking vampire. This part focuses mainly on the adventures of Jonathan as he learned to master a martial arts technique known as Hamon, which is translated to the Ripple. Jonathan is also accompanied by a Hamon teacher named Will Zeppeli and a former street thug named Speedwagon. Part 1 feels more classical based on the time period the characters were in, which was England around the late 1800s. The Phantom Blood arc seems like an arc that doesn't seem much of an appeal to some, but still holds its values. The second arc, on the other hand, has a more modern type of feel since it takes place around 100 years after the events of Phantom Blood. The setting begins in the United States of America in the mid-1900s during pre-World War II. In this arc, we're introduced to the grandson of Jonathan Joestar, Joseph Joestar. He somehow inherits the ability to use Hamon at an early age, which is not really explained, but later revealed as the story progresses. We follow Joseph as he is guided by a woman named Lisa and by another Hamon user named Caesar Zeppeli, who is the grandson of Will Zeppeli. Both Hamon users are under the teaching of Lisa as they learn to master the arts of Hamon. The second arc of JoJo Bizarre Adventures focus on these ancient supernatural men known as the Pillar Men. The Pillar Men are the creators of the stone mask that was featured in the first arc. This arc goes beyond the story and the origin of the stone mask that Dio used to turn into a vampire. The main antagonists of this arc are AC/DC, Wamu, and Cars. These men are completely fucking outrageous, especially Cars. Just look at this dude. He's a definition of fabulous. This arc is acclaimed mostly for its homosexual representation, for each characters having their own iconic poses. In my opinion, I joined Battle Tendency better than Phantom's Blood. It's probably mostly for the fact that I had that modern type of style that really captivated me. And the poses. God damn. Fabulous! Some may dislike this arc because of the amount of masculinity that was portrayed in this arc. Now, we come to the second installment of JoJo Bizarre Adventures, Stardust Crusaders, which is also known as the third arc or Part 3. Oh shit! What am I watching? What the fuck's a stand? What happened to Hamon? The ripples! While watching the first episode, a lot of questions started to pop in my mind. Questions after questions. I was completely lost as fuck until some stuff were explained as the story advanced. Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, takes place 50 years after the conclusion of Battle Tendency. This arc is mostly known because of Jotaro Kujo, who is a high school delinquent that is 17 years old and the grandson of Joseph Joestar. He's 17 years old! Look Look at him! He looks like a person in his 20s at least with that body structure and proportion. Damn! Shit, I wish I was that cool looking and complete badass. The story focused back to Dio Brando. Somehow this fucking badass vampire is still alive after what happened at the end of part 1. In this part, the concept of Stan makes its first debut. Stan came into existence because of Dio taking over Jonathan's body. Dio's vampiric power fusing with hormone energy within Jonathan's body manifests into some sort of power that manipulates itself into a Stan, which is all known as the ghostly ripples. A Stan is the manifestation of a Stan's user energy that is usually under his or her control. It's confusing to me, but that's the best explanation I could give for now. Stardust Crusaders centers on Jotaro Kujo on his adventures from Japan to Cairo with JoJo's star, and along the way, they make allies to stop Dio for good and save his mother from the face of death. Along the way, they get interfered by higher assassin Stan users issued by Dio himself to stop the heroes from reaching Cairo, Egypt. Part 3 makes the series a thriller. Suspense is all around the air and there's always a surprise that will blow your fucking mind away. Action is constantly repeating as it becomes repetitive, but it never gets boring. New enemies to encounter and struggles each episode will keep you wanting for more. I guarantee that you will always be at the edge of your fucking seat while watching this part. I personally enjoy this arc and love the new concept called Stan. This arc will definitely draw newcomers in the series since this is the turning point in the tale of JoJo. This is the birth of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's success. The characters in the series is memorable. All characters have their own unique qualities. For instance, we have Jonathan Joestar. Jonathan Joestar's story is the most tragic out of all the Joestars. Because fucking Dio Brando! Jonathan is a man with a pure heart and has character traits that define him as a true hero. He is pretty much a knight in a shiny armor. Jonathan fights for what is right and is passionate for what he does. In my opinion, Jonathan is one of the bland Joestars. He resembles a classical hero just like what we see in classical hero movies. On the other hand, Joseph Joestar is more of a jokester type of dude and likes to play with the minds of others. He is known for his cleverness and wittiness. He loves getting in his opponent's mind so he can fuck around with their thoughts. Joseph Joestar is considered one of my favorite JoJo's because he does kind of remind me of myself. A cool, chill dude that loves fucking around and at the same time tries to achieve his goals no matter what obstacles are in the way. Other than the previous JoJo's, we get Jotaro Kujo. He is the definition of a delinquent and an absolute rebel. He changed the entire face of JoJo with his distinctive personality. He's laid back and hardly shows any signs of emotion. Also, I repeat, this dude is 17 years old. He's the youngest compared to all the previous generation that first started his bizarre adventure. Oh my god, look at this. He smokes! And he doesn't give a fuck! I'll be real here. Jotaro seems like a tsundere type in my perspective. He hides his true emotion with his companions and loved ones. This guy is just too cool for school. Also, he is fans' top pick when it comes to who is the best JoJo. His popularity is based on his badassery. Personally though, I don't like Jotaro at all. I don't hate him. It's just, this dude is overly overpowered. He never seems to have struggles in his own battles and always keeps a firm poise. We hardly see him display his emotion with his friends, but it's implied, which is something I really don't like. Lastly, the character that is known for his mischievous personality. Dio fucking Brando! Baddest villain I have ever been exposed to. He's the king of evil in my books. No one can compare to this guy. He is dangerous and a complete psychopath. Some say Dio was born with evil from the start. He's the devil himself. Dio is also one of my favorite characters in the JoJo series. I don't know why, but it's just that aura that Dio gives all the people and how wicked he is, which makes me admire his character. In the beginning of the series, Dio is a genius and excelled at almost everything. He surpassed Jonathan in many ways, but not until he went down the killer's path. He is a dangerous person and should not be reckoned with. Shit, if I ever saw him, I'll probably shit myself to death. I admire how Araki creates a connection of the characters to the audience. He creates a bond that is everlasting and unforgettable. The art styles portrayed in JoJo is not like your typical anime that we see nowadays. It might seem hipster to some, but it fits perfect with the series. Imagine watching this in a more modern art style. I don't see it working at all. JoJo goes for a more realism approach for its art and design. It used actual human anatomy, but with over-exaggerated muscular features and excessive amount of masculinity. As you can see here, this is a picture of the first part, Phantom's Blood, back in 1987. Over time, Araki altered his art style until he adapted it into his own unique design that is still currently seen today in his work. The animation, on the other hand, is top-notch. Every fight is well laid out and designed. The effects are amazing too. The blood, gore, and iconic do and dole that will appear at mysterious or crazy moments. It's amazing how Dave Production was able to make this into this. It feels fresh, but at the same time still keeps the appeal. Also, I'd like to mention its usage of color. It was a pretty unique way to emphasize feeling and complement to the suspense. The entire series is very colorful and at some point will be overwhelming to some, but if you love rainbows, you enjoy it. I have noticed some few flaws in the animation. The images were still, and maybe some scenes were missing a few key frames. That's probably just me and just my bad eyesight. You be the judge of it yourself. I probably gotta get my eyes checked. Overall though, splendid animation and glad to see Dave Production keep JoJo classic feel without changing too much. God, fuck! This phrase was in my mind for the past couple of days after watching the series. I wasn't even able to concentrate on my schoolwork because of this one line that keeps popping into my mind. Sonochi no Saname is sung by Tommy. It's the first opening for the first arc, Phantom's Blood. It carries strong emotions based on the tone of the singer and tells a great tale between Dio and Jonathan. It's deep and sounds epic and sets the stage of the Joestar legacy. The second opening for Battle Tendency is Bloody Stream by Coda. This arc opening takes a lot to get used to. I didn't have any likings to it until I had to listen to it about 10 times. At first I thought it was a dagger from Sonochi no Saname, but began to appreciate it, and that ended me liking the song. The majority of the opening is vectorized. There's a variety of colors that overlays character and that made it artistic and fun to watch. As I mentioned before, this is one of the arc of JoJo's where things get fabulous and super manly. The things you'll see in this opening is amazing. Also, there's one funny part that always cracks me up. Now comes Stardust Crusaders opening. Stand Proud by Jin. Shit! I fell in love with this song after the first time I heard it. It was amazing. The guitar and the epicness that I heard was the thing that really grabbed my attention. It was strong and tells the danger that awaits the heroes. They must stand and fight to save the future. The opening also depicts location that the arc will take place and sets the arena for Jotaro Kujo. Sorry about that. I just like saying his name that way. Openings aside, the music that were used in the entire series is perfect. The background music fits really well with the location. For instance, in Phantom Blood, you will notice the background fitting for classical England. It reminds me of living in a palace or mansion back in the 1800s and being in a royalty family. It immersed the audience and brings them back in the 1800s with its usage of sound. After part 1, Battle Tendency's sound changed with usage of western hip-hop and rock. A new thing though I realized is also the installment of dubstep. Yes, dubstep. I personally dislike dubstep, but the dubstep music in this arc was good. It was not too excessive of all that. The dubstep I heard was acceptable and started to become a liking to me. This was common a few years ago. You know, dubstep in anime. But as of now, a lot of anime are utilizing some sort of dubstep in their soundtracks. And Stardust Crusaders, on the other hand, is more of a modern type of feel of its soundtrack. It ditches the dubstep genre and transitions to more of a rock and metal genre. It's sometimes a mixture between the first season and rock, and it becomes quite generic after a while, but still good and fitting for the location, scene, and characters. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was a ride. Along the way, you grow with the Joestar family and watch them age. Each generation of Joestar is a reason why JoJo is always fresh and stays new. It's not like one of your typical shonen manga like Naruto, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, and Bleach, where there's only one main protagonist that is focused throughout its lifespan. JoJo feels more realistic and provides its audience with its well-told storytelling. There's tons of action and climactic moment that will sometimes blow your mind away and say, "What the fuck?" Also, tons of gore and blood shit if you're into those type of shit. In addition, it gives audience sentimental feelings when their favorite character is killed off. But hey, that's how reality is, alright? JoJo has kept its values and will continue to give off good impression to its fans. In conclusion, I enjoyed it and I guarantee you will too. The first arc might be boring to few because of its pacing. After about a couple episodes, it has mysterious powers that lures you into the JoJo world. The story is easy to follow since it's really linear and straight to the point. There might be times where you might be lost, but don't worry. Stuff are explained as the story gets further. I highly recommend JoJo to all. All characters are likable and seem to have their own appeal. I know a lot of people say it's a classic, but it's starting to become more modernized. I give the first JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a 10 out of 10. Super manly! Testosterone to the max! Just kidding, 9 out of 10. For the second season, Stardust Crusader, I give it an 8 out of 10.